Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to the show. It looks like I'm high. I've just been up all night, I assure you. Yeah, I got really behind on work because of my back exploding. And last night my brain was like, "Oh, look, you're good enough to sit at your desk again. You have to get all the work done, or else I'm gonna kill you because I'm your brain, and I'm an idiot sometimes." But I got a lot of work done last night, so it is what it is. And in the process, the beginning of that manic episode, basically, was a little bit of a sort of revelation. Basically, in spinning a bunch of motors up with the props off, I realized that the KVs stamped on these motors are not super accurate. That's not the important part, though. The important part was then realizing that with bidirectional DShot, I can spin these tiny whoop motors up with no prop on, and then I can spin them up with a prop on, and I can look at that differential. Well, so to get the KV of the motor, previously I didn't think we could do this because the 8-bit ESCs have a maximum RPM limit, and these like 30,000, 32,000 KV and up motors without a prop on exceed that limit. But we don't have to go to 100%. It's most accurate when you do it at 100%. I also talked to Ryan Harrell a bunch yesterday about all this stuff, just to make sure that I was on the right track. And yeah, KV measurements are best done at full tilt, but we can't do that because of the limitations of the 8-bit ESC. There are other ways to test the KV, but this method is relatively accurate and kind of just almost as good. We just do 50% throttle. Take the prop off, go into beta flight, 50% throttle on the motors tab. That will not exceed the limit of the 8-bit ESC, and that'll give us a number that we then just double. And then we do the KV math. But I don't even necessarily care about the KV. All I care about is that number, that RPM that we get with the prop off. All right? So no load on the motor, we're going to get an RPM that it's wound to turn. And then we're going to put a 1210 Gemfan biblade on there, and we're going to crank it up to 100%. The propeller creates enough drag that the motor will not exceed the hard limit that the ESCs have, that the 8-bit ESCs have. So then we've got the unloaded maximum RPM, and then the loaded down with a prop on it maximum RPM. The gap between those numbers is going to tell us how much work the motor can do. You can, and it's also going to clue us in on the efficiency of the motor. And so I've got a whole bunch of stuff ready to do some testing today. Anybody that wants to, I can give you the, share the link to this spreadsheet that I've got going, because it's Spreadsheet Sunday, yo. And we're going to take a look at a whole bunch of motors, at what the RPM they'll turn spinning freely, and then with the prop on. And what I think that we're going to see is that the gap between those two numbers is going to be the smallest with Happymodel motors. We've always kind of noticed that Happymodel tiny whoop motors just seem to make more power, and they're more efficient. And I think doing this is gonna, yeah, I think this is gonna kind of show us that, because you can wind a motor to turn 1,000,000 kV, But if you don't optimize the thickness of the windings, which we've been talking about a ton, it's not going to make a lot of power. Like it'll just turn a lot of kV when there's no load put on it, but as soon as you drag it down, it won't have the it won't have the amount of copper that it needs in the stator to actually push that propeller through. And we're also going to see that on the different motor sizes. Like on a 702, there's probably going to be a much bigger gap between the unloaded RPM and the loaded RPM. Whereas when we get up into like 802s, we're going to test an 803. I'm a little bit limited in what I can test because I want to do it all on the GemFan 1210 propeller, and that's only a 1mm motor shaft. So we can't really test any of these 1.5mm shaft motors unless we go to a 16. Yeah, I guess we can. We can just have a separate set of testing with the 1610 propeller. That's fine. But yeah, I think this is going to really clue us in so that we can like take a look at these VCI motors, take a look at, I have some NewBeeDrone motors here, some 29,000 kV NewBeeDrone motors that we can test, and then we can compare those to Happymodel. Look, the optimizing the thickness of the copper winding material on the stator is only one of many things. Ryan Harrell was very quick to make sure that I remembered this. And I did, and we've talked about this, right? When you compare like a Happymodel motor to, I also have BetaFPV motors that we can test. So like when you compare a Happymodel 32,000 to a BetaFPV 32, hold on, what's the kV of the BetaFPV motor? Is it 32? I'm actually really excited to test. No, the beta motor is 27, so I won't be able to have a direct test. But what I think we're gonna see is that, like I said, that differential is going to be bigger. But Ryan made sure that I remembered that there are other things at play: strength of the magnets, air gap, flux ring outside of the magnets to try to keep the magnetic field inside the motor. So, you know, those things, I guess we'll get to see those things as well. So we're not just calculating here like how good or bad of a job they did at optimizing the thickness of the copper. We're kind of testing everything. How strong are the magnets? How tight is the air gap? How good is the flux ring? And there's a bunch of other stuff. But I think this is really valuable kind of stuff because the smaller that gap between these two numbers, the better the motor. The more work the motor is able to do, and I'm pretty sure it also is how efficient the motor is. So this will be pretty cool. There's a Facebook group where that's kind of really spawned all of this in my brain over the last month or so, where they are hand winding tiny whoop motors, and they're starting to figure some of this stuff up. ButterflyFPV has been taking apart tiny whoop motors and measuring the thickness of the windings and how many turns are on each stator. And so, yeah, this is just hopefully going to help even more with that. You know, what we're trying to find out is what's the best tiny whoop motor. Chris Rosser has some testing coming out that'll also really beef this up with his really fancy thrust stand. And so, yeah, I have a feeling that between what we're going to do here today, Chris's video that's coming, what the guys are doing over on the hand winding tiny whoop group, I feel like we'll have a better handle on how high is too high in terms of kV. Is there a kV where we get stuck in between the thickness of windings? So like for example, one of the things that I see the guys in that group running into is that like if they're using like 0.20 millimeter winding material, the next jump is like 0.25, and there might be a kV that falls in between those two where it's not going to be optimized because there isn't a thickness of a winding thickness between 0.20 and 0.25, right? Just as a random example. And so, yeah, if we find that like 34,000 kV falls in between there, then we know, like, maybe skip the 34,000 kV motor and either get 32 or 36, right? That's kind of what I'm hoping to see here. And I'm also hoping to kind of debunk the whole thing where, like, it really seems like BetaFPV and VCI motors, to name the two that I've noticed this recently, their motors make less power and are less efficient for the given kV. And yeah, so we know that those motors are, yeah, buy them if you like the color of them, but maybe stay away from them. Although there are other benefits of those motors, I think, potentially strength, right? I've not noticed this because I've mainly run Happymodel motors, but people that know what's what have said that the metal that Happymodel uses for its motor shafts is not as strong as some of the other brands. Also, the weight of the motors. Brent Anderson said weight of the motor major to final numbers, right? So there are other reasons to get these motors. Right now, we're just going to be looking at, like, sort of the amount of work that the motors can do. The other thing that this test doesn't... the other, like, shortcoming of this test is that I'm going to be holding these tiny whoop frames. And so that is not the same as when they're in the air. So the super high kV motors are going to be... are not going to perform as well in these tests as they do in the air. But that's okay, because mainly, like, in this, we're kind of looking for one brand versus another brand. Do Happymodel motors have a smaller differential in the unloaded RPM versus the props on loaded down RPM than some of these other motors? And I have a feeling that that's what we're going to see. And I think what we're also going to see is that gap between those gets bigger and bigger and bigger as the kV goes up. We should see that. It's going to be drastic because I'm going to be holding onto the rig. There's no incoming air. I'm just like a loaded thrust stand. And that's the data that we're going to get from Chris Rosser and his testing too. And so, yeah, in Chris's testing, I can all but guarantee you that it's going to look like the higher kV motors. I'm talking like high, like 30,000, 32, 36, 40. If he tests motors that are that high of a kV, they're going to look like they get super inefficient. And that's mainly going to be because it's a loaded thrust stand with no incoming air. Those motors are more efficient in the real world when you're actually flying them. As we've shown, you know, on the 40,000 kV motors, I'm still getting over 3 minutes of runtime. I get pretty much the same amount of runtime as I do with 32,000, 30,000. So, yeah, there you go. There's 20 minutes of information right off the rip for you. That's the plan today. It's Spreadsheet Sunday, friends. Thanks for joining me. I apologize. I look like a mess. I've not really slept. Cloudhopper with a $5 super chat. He says, "Hey, Ciotti, check your email for some weight savings." Speaking of my email, Cloudhopper, thank you so much. Speaking of my email, bunch of new patrons have kind of piled up, and I've been putting them aside, and it's time, yo. Earthwalker, thanks for joining the Gangly Gang. Welcome on board, my friend. Andrew Taylor, welcome to the gang. Thank you for joining the Patreon. You guys can, if you're not on the Patreon, you can join it by going over to CiottiFPV.com. It's one of the top links there. It says Patreon, parentheses, helps me the most, because it really does. And you get a ton of really good stuff. You get access to a bunch of technical articles, YouTube playlist that's unlisted with like 90 some odd Patreon-only live streams, weird flying that I don't want public, half-done edits that I ask for your advice on, a couple of different Facebook groups, full Discord access, and tomorrow night is a giveaway night. So it's an excellent time to join the $5, $10, or $20 tiers. The $5 a month tier will enter you to win Tiny Whoop and Toothpick parts every first Monday of the month. $10 a month for 3-inch micro brushless parts and Cinewhoop parts. $20 a month for 5-inch parts. If you have an extra $1 a day that you can throw my way, oh. You can join the $30 a month tier and you get entered into all 3 of those giveaways. Those folks win a lot. When you win a giveaway, it's anywhere from like $50 to $100 worth of stuff. So like it pays for your Patreon for at least a couple of months. So do it. Join my Patreon. Get in on the giveaways tomorrow night. If you're on the $3 tier, maybe jump up to the $5 tier, because if you win $50 worth of Tiny Whoop stuff, that'll pay for your Patreon for like 10 months. That's how math works, right? Render, welcome to the Gangly Gang. Thanks for joining the Patreon. J-Bo, welcome to the gangliest of all the gangs. Taylor DeMello, thank you for joining, brother. Sean Hale, thank you for joining. Texas UAV Source, welcome to the gang. Kids say gang. What the hell does that mean? It looks like Texas UAV Force joined twice. You can do that if you want to get 2 entries into the giveaway. You can just join twice. I don't know if that's what happened or if the email maybe doubled in some weird way. But thank you regardless, brother. Caleb Shillo, welcome to the Gangly Gang. Verbalance, thank you for joining, my friend. Thank you for the support. George Ramstead, welcome to the gang, friend. Jeffrey Hathcock, thank you for the support, dude. Gangly Gang for life. Alan C. Stephen P, I'm just going to say, instead of massacring your last name. Thank you, friends, for the support. And there is my BetaFPV order. So I'm caught up. There we go. My BetaFPV order shipped yesterday. So let's see how long it takes to get here. It's been a long time since I ordered from there. I don't know where it's shipping from. Hopefully it doesn't take weeks, because the 2S Walk Snail Tiny Whoop AIO is on that order, and I want to get that thing back up in the air. Thanks for joining, friends. It really does mean a lot that you jump onto the Patreon. Hopefully it's worth it. I feel like I see more people join than leave, so that's a good thing. But yeah, first and foremost, I greatly appreciate the support. It means a lot. It is literally the only reason that I can continue to do this full time and stay up all night. Marquez, unread. Yes. I want that to be unread. All right. Speaking of my email, AliExpress, don't send me emails. There we go. An email entitled Inverted Ballsack Canopy. Cloudhopper, thank you for that, brother. I don't want to show your email address. Perfect. I figured it out. What are you saying? Discovered you can save nearly 0.2 grams if you shave your ball sack. I have some LAF frames due to deliver soon, sub 18 gram range with connector motors on a 65 millimeter. I have also seen people cut the ass off of this frame. They cut like here. They cut this whole part, this whole back part of the damn thing off, and it works totally fine. I have never really fully broken one of these things, but I don't know if I'll do this. This is super interesting. I'm sure that this does work, but I break these things up here on the top, and then eventually, well, actually, no. I've never broken one of the ones with the forward. I used to break these frames, the old school version that didn't have this forward mounting point. I used to break them on the bottom here, below the camera, and then I'd break them on the top, and then it would get kind of wobbly. But now that they have this front support, and the camera screws in right here, and so, yeah, I wonder what the... I have enough of these damn things where I can start to kind of screw around with them. I think what I should do is cut the ass off of one. So what we're looking at here saves 0.2 of a gram, Cloudhopper says, which is very cool. So you cut this part out, open up this front, open up these top two, and then open up these back two here. I'm going to cut the ass off of one, and we'll see how much weight that saves. I bet you it saves you even more weight. And then, yeah, we can shave your ball sack. 10 out of 10, my friend. Thank you for the super chat, brother. If you want to talk to me in the chat, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. You can do a super chat. If you want to be cool like Cloudhopper, you can also just type CiottiFPV. You don't have to put an @ in front of it, but you can if you'd like. Cloudhopper was first. Curtis Hayes, notice Orphe FPV, Northern Tier FPV Toast, Kevin Sumner, Caleb Shillo, Smoke a Dog Cujo. Hey Kevin, are you going to be somewhat actively never mind. I'll talk to you after the stream. I'm making a spreadsheet on the stream. I'm wondering if you can yeah, I'm wondering if you could put like a formula or two into it, because you seem to know spreadsheets pretty damn well, to figure out the differential between these two numbers. But yeah, we'll figure it out. I think we just need to divide the bigger number by the lower number, to give us like this number that will show us the distance between RPMs, loaded versus unloaded. Caleb Shillo, Smoking Dog Cujo, Cloudhopper, Douglas Otwell, Siskel FPV, Kamen FPV, Kilo Zebra, Striker, Douglas Otwell again, Hendrix Freakazoid, Colin Stapleton, Striker. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming. Let me get caught up on chat, and then we'll start spinning motors up. Striker says, what do you think is the best slightly larger motor for 75mm 802.8 RCinpower 1002? It depends on a lot of things, Striker. It depends on the all-up weight. It depends on, like, yeah, it depends on a lot of things. And I don't really have an answer for that yet, if it's walk snail. If it's an analog 75mm rig, the iGao 802 27,000s, I think, are the best. But bigger than that, I don't know yet. CH3 says, what's up? Walter says, hey. Orphe FPV says, you talked about Mobula 6 2024 having an issue with the camera or canopy, and many people were destroying them after a couple batters. Do you know why? Thank you. Yeah, I think it's because of the stupid G-string camera mount setup that they've got. Mine has been completely indestructible, even with me flashing the wrong firmware and screwing it all up. It's come back to life. And yeah, I very early on, I switched mine to the old school Mobula 6 canopy and RunCam Nano 3, and it's been completely indestructible. And so, yeah, I think that the stupid G-string canopies are the reasons that a lot of these new tiny whoops are dying. Although I will say the G-string canopy on the BetaFPV Air 65, it puts the camera up so high that it seems to be fine. I battered the hell out of a couple of prototypes that they sent me, and they were super durable. So, yeah, the Air 65 is looking pretty good. Sprout says, hey, do you have a good analog build for a 2S 2-inch drone that can fly like in a backyard or a park? I don't yet, Sprout. I haven't gone down that path in about 8 years. But I will soon. I'm diving more into 2S. Give me like a month or two. I got some cool stuff coming. Moss1 says, I switched motors on the new Mobula 6 to the Beta 0702 SE, and it flew twitchy for a bit, then run away into the ceiling. What do you think the issue is? It could be so many things, Moss. It could be bent motor shafts. It could be bent propellers. So first things first, put a fresh set of propellers on it. And then I've shown a bunch of times how to see if... So just go into turtle mode and spin each motor up gently while you're holding the quad. See if there's one motor that's vibrating harder than another. If it has a fresh prop on it, then the motor shaft is bent. You got to replace that motor. Could have been... Yeah, those are the most likely things. But, yeah. The PIDs also could be too high. If the beta, you didn't tell me what the KV of the motors were. If the beta FPV motors are a higher KV, then you probably need to back the PIDs off a little bit. Easiest way to do that is to grab the master multiplier and just pull it to the right by a couple of by like 0.2 or 0.3. So yeah, those are the most common. Brandon Anderson says, but wait, we talked about that. CMYK says, yo, what's up, Gangly Gang? What's up, homie? Andrew Taylor says, glad to help out, but please get some sleep. I wish. If it were that easy, I would. Kevin Sumner says, I'll take a break from No Man's Sky to set that up. Send me a link in Discord to the sheet. Thank you, dude. Are you playing on the new, I think I saw there was a new Bing Bong. A new update. Motor torque production. Yay! Okay, how do I... Hold on. So if I go back to... Google stocks, and go. I can take this and where's recent documents? Yeah. No, where is it? Where are you, recent document? How do I share this? Man, I have lost the ability to computer in my old age. Share, there we go. Share, quick sharing actions. Copy link. Nope, not private. I don't want it to be private. I want it to be that, and then copy the link. Editor. There we go. Okay, cool. Done. And copy the link. There it is. All right, you got it, my friend. There it is. It's in Discord. Yeah, Kevin, I explained this to you yesterday, I believe. So I think you know what we're trying to do here, right? I made another column for 1610s. So yeah, let's get to testing. But first, we'll get caught up on chat. Thank you, Kevin, by the way. Spoken Dog Cujo says, my Air 65 shipped from BetaFPV on 7/14. USPS is awaiting the item from the shipping partner as of 8/01, almost a month. What? I wonder if they sent all of them out to the resellers and didn't send any out to customers. That sucks. I would be pissed if that were me. Because you can just get one. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I got the prototype, so I don't know if people... Has anybody actually gotten their Air 65 yet? Cloudhopper says, I seem to remember you talking about crash recovery at some point, but I can't find it. Do you change default crash recovery settings? I do. Here's what you want to do, though, because my settings are different. The crash recovery settings, like the G thresholds and the timing... And there's also like there's a G, like G-force threshold, and then there's a D gain threshold. You want to set those. You want to set those for yourself, and so here's how you can understand them a little bit better. You Google Betaflight Wiki, and then you come in here and you use the search in the top right. I think I'm in the right spot. Wait, no. I want to go to... Well, let's try it. In the top right corner, you search for crash recovery. It's worth it to just understand... Yep. So, do that. Google Betaflight Wiki. Click through to the Betaflight Wiki. That's going to be the first search result. Top right corner, search for crash recovery. And it'll scroll you down... And this is what you just need to read through. And this is yeah, you'll be able to understand this. And then it tells you all the different fields, and you can go in, because what you don't want is crash recovery to turn on too often or not often enough. And that's why you need to kind of read through this. But you'll get it. It's not super hard to understand. And if you have any questions, let me know. Don't need that. Hey, here's this. There we go. All right. Moss1 says, thanks, buddy. You're certainly welcome. Notice says, I love the spreadsheet crap. I'd be happy to help with data entry if you need it. I think I'll be all right. It looks like I just needed this one. Yeah, I think looks like Kevin's already done it. God, that was quick. I had a feeling he might be able to bang it out super quick because, yeah, spreadsheet stuff is not super confusing to people that have functioning human brains. Thank you again, Kevin. Cole Powers says they're probably short stocked from those guys that bought it at the $5 list price. Yeah, right. Professor Biohazard says I ordered my Air 65 715, just cleared customs on 7/31, still awaiting delivery. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, it looks like the Air 65s. This will be interesting because I don't have an Air 65 in my order. I just have a bunch of stuff that was in stock. So, yeah, we'll see. All right. Let's get into some testing, yo. So the other thing that we can test here is if different AIOs. I'm kind of curious about this. I think I have a couple of different AIOs here with a couple of different different AIOs with the same motors bolted to them. And yeah, I want to check that. I want to make sure that like one AIO is not going to turn a different RPM than another with the same kind of motor. As long as they don't, in theory, you guys can kind of add to the testing. The problem with that is going to be, I'm going to be using my Toolkit RC P200 adjustable power supply here, locked at, I want to say 4 volts is the right number. Hold on. I feel like 4 volts is the right number because a fully charged battery, a fully charged 300 mAh battery at 4.35 volts, as soon as you power the quad on, it sags down to 4.2. And then as soon as you take off, it sags down to like 4, sometimes even lower than 4. It depends on how fresh the battery is, though. Like, I've seen them sag all the way down to 3.8 as soon as you take off. I don't want to power this at a... So this power supply is not going to sag like these batteries, right? It'll be able to provide 4 volts, or I could technically set it to 4.35 volts, but setting it to 4.35 volts is going to really stress these ESCs out. And like, why do that? If in the real, like, we don't have any batteries that can actually do that, so why do it here, right? I'm tempted to maybe set the voltage to 3.8, but I think maybe if you have like a brand new fresh battery and you're running like lower KV motors, like 29,000, 28,000, I feel like in that scenario, these batteries would be able to support 4 volts at full throttle. So, and it's a nice round number, right? And so as long as we pick a number, we'll be okay. But yeah, I would love to like test every single motor in this way, but I don't know. I have an awful lot of motors, so I'm gonna set this power supply at 4 volts. Hopefully, if you have a fresh battery and you want to compare your motors that you've got there, if you've got a different KV, different motor size than me, hopefully you'll be able to. Kevin's still working on it, and thank you, dude. I see things moving around over here in the spreadsheet. Yeah. Maybe you can get in on that. But I don't actually think that matters that much. I think yeah. A consistent voltage is going to matter, though. So it's going to be tough. I think if you want to get in on the testing, you would need to, like, charge the battery up, do the testing real quick. I'm going to show you how to do the testing in a minute. And then put the battery back on the charger while you're changing to a different motor. And then wait until that battery is all the way up to 4.35 again. Put it on, do another set of testing. I think the best way to do this testing is to put 2 motors of each kind into the build. So you can fire one up, fire the other up, take an average of the 2, fire the different KV up, fire the different match of the different KV up, take the average of the 2. And so that's what I've done here. This is a build that's been just kind of sitting, waiting for a canopy and camera. And this was what I was starting to screw around with yesterday that put me on this crazy... When the lightning bolt struck my brain, this is what I was messing around with. So yeah, let's dive into it. BAD says, our Happymodel EX1404 4800 KV too much for a 249 gram 4S build, as the product description says 3S. Nope, not at all. It's probably going to be a really good motor. Although, like, if you already have that motor, by all means, go for it. But what I can tell you is that the T-Motor 1404 4600 KV is kind of like the king of the 1404s. So if you haven't bought motors yet, and if the T-Motors are available for, you know, whatever shop you're ordering from or wherever you are in the world, I would opt for the T-Motor 1404s rather than the Happy models. But apparently the Happy model 1404s are pretty good. So, I think they're a little bit more efficient, I believe, than the T-Motors, but I think they don't make quite as much power. Rosser did testing on a bunch of 1404s, and both of those motors are in his testing, so you can check that out if you want. All right, I'm going to start adding to this spreadsheet. The first two motors that we're going to test are, wait till you see how this plays out. This is what blew my mind yesterday. Tiny Whoop / Happymodel. All right, look, for the rest of this video, Tiny Whoop motors, I'm just going to call Happymodel motors because they're made by Happymodel. Weebleed and Tiny Whoop's motors are made by Happymodel. Cool? You pretty much all know that, but anybody that's new, now you know. Happymodel 0702 36,000s, and then NewBeeDrone 0702, I got to double check, 29,000 kV motors. These kV numbers that I'm giving you are what's marked on the motor. All right? And you're about to see some wild shit. This motor says 29,000 kV. This motor says 36,000 kV. Okay? That's what we're about to do. So let me pull this spreadsheet over here, and I guess I can make it a little bit bigger. And so NBD 0702 29. Okay. Right? Just double checking. 29. Yep, they're both 29. All right, so I'm going to pull the propellers off. Well, no, the propellers are already on. So we'll do the props on test first, and then I'll pull them off. It's kind of weirdly out of order. Versus the HM 0702 36K. All right. And so here's the test setup. Plugging it into USB so that we can fire up Betaflight. Plugging in BT 2.0 to a power supply set to 4 volts. It's going to be a consistent 4 volts for all this testing. That's important. All right, that's plugged in. And then I'm going to hold the Tiny Whoop when I do the actual testing to give it a little bit of airflow down below. So just kind of hanging it off the edge of the desk here just for the moment. And then, yeah. And we're going to back some of this stuff up with different AIOs. Make sure that, yeah, one AIO is not drastically different than another. I actually have not tested that before, so that should be super interesting. Branderson says, I was under the impression that AIO limits motors to the lowest kV once plugged in. The PID loop does that, yes. But the motors tab does not do that. The motors tab will just give you what you ask it for. So if you ramp a motor up to 100% on the motors tab, it'll just send 100% to that motor. It does not involve the PID loop. So we're connected to Betaflight. We're going to go to the motors tab, and the key is that the motors tab gives us back this RPM data, right? Bidirectional DShot gives us fairly accurate RPM data. It moves up and down so fast that we're just going to take an average, but that's okay because you're going to see the differential is pretty big between these loaded and unloaded RPMs that we're going to see. All right, so I'm going to push the button to fire up the power supply. I'm going to try to do the testing sort of as quick as I can so that I can get the numbers onto the spreadsheet before the AIO gets too hot. I don't want the AIO heating up to affect any of this stuff. So I'm going to try to kind of do this fast, and if you have questions, just ask them on the chat. I hope that I've explained this good enough that everybody kind of knows what's going on here. If not, by all means, ask it in the chat. I do Oh, I forgot this about the power supply. Oh, the power supply struggles to fire these quads up for reasons that I never did figure out in the past. Oh, shit. Can you hear it? Oh, no. I forgot all about this. Shit. Shit. I did have a little bit of luck. Damn. Damn. Oh, I totally forgot about this. I was doing the testing yesterday with batteries because I didn't have the cable that I needed. Let me try to put a capacitor on the battery lead. Yeah, let me put a capacitor on here. All right. Hold on. I had a hunch last time, and I didn't really test it, but now I'm going to test it. I think this might work, or it might explode. We will find out together. I'm going to take a big old capacitor, and so if I solder this guy here, no, I'm gonna take, oh good, I've got a beat up capacitor, perfect. All right, so I'm gonna take a beat up capacitor, and then I'm gonna solder these guys to the capacitor, and then this plugs into the battery, and then there's a capacitor in line. And maybe, just maybe, that'll help. Oh! I totally forgot about this. Oh my god. Oh boy. I mean, if we have to do the testing with batteries, we can. But using the power supply is obviously going to give better results. Hold on. I'm just thinking through this for one more second. Actually, I'm going to use one of these. I'm going to use this guy because this also has the little spike absorber thing, and I have a weird hunch that might have to do with, that might be a part of the reason that the power supply is having trouble. I don't think this will blow up, right? As long I can put a capacitor here in this, and then just clip the leads here, and it'll be fine, right? This won't explode. I don't think. We're about to find out together. Right? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Hold on. Let me clear up a space here. These are the VCI 0802.8s. That should be cool. Looking forward to testing those. So let me just strip a little bit of wire off here. And then, yeah, I'm just going to jankily solder these together. And maybe this will fix the problem. Maybe it'll explode. Maybe it'll fix the problem. Either way, you guys will have a blast. Okay, so I'm doing a janky, but not janky, inline capacitor. Let's put some flux on the wires. All right, there we go. And we're going to take our thermally resistive putty, smash that on in there. I'm going to assume that black is negative and white is positive. All right. And cool. So let me tin this guy up first. Come on, piece of solder sitting on the thing. Help me. There we go. Okay, so let's just real quick tin this and this. Look at all that flux burning off. All right, good. And so now I'm just going to take this guy, and this will actually help. I'm using like alligator clips on this, and this will help me keep that all together. Keep the alligator clips from touching one another, basically. All right, hold on. I gotta tin the back part of these wires. Hold on, I'm just gonna do it off the side of the desk real quick. This doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be strong enough to sit on the desk as I plug it and unplug it a couple times. All right, that should be good. So then we're going to take the ground, and I'm purposefully kind of hanging it off the front here so that I can clamp the little alligator clips to it. So again, it's going to look like ass, but it's going to work. Oh boy. Okay, there's one. And then here comes the other. Okay, yeah, that's nice and smooth, so it's going to be fine. Again, it's going to look like ass, but it'll be fine. I don't even know if this will help. This very well might do nothing. But it's hopefully a quick fix. Damn, I completely forgot about the power supply being kind of a jerk last time I tried to do something like this. All right. So there we go. We got those connected. Kind of janky, but it'll work. Red is going to white. Black is going to black. Cool. Let's see if this explodes. First thing I'll do is just clamp the... so I'm going to turn off the voltage from the power supply. And then I'm going to clamp black to black. And then I'm going to clamp red to red. Okay. I'm going to hit the button. Hopefully the capacitor doesn't explode. Yeah, we're good. All right. So on 3.9. Raise it up to 4.0. Okay. All is well. I'm going to turn it back off. Now I'm going to plug it into the AIO. And hopefully I'm now not going to blow up a perfectly good 2G4. Let's see. I am genius! I am genius! There is no one more genius than me. Look at that, yo. I can't believe that worked. I was certain that that wasn't going to work. So I just, I just put a capacitor in line that's smoothing out the flow of electricity from the. You would think that you know what I think is happening? The adjustable power supply has a it's like it's like tripping. It's got like a failsafe built into it, and I think it's like tripping that failsafe. I don't know what's actually happening, but it doesn't matter because it worked. Cool. So now I just need to plug USB back in. So back to our regularly scheduled spreadsheet Sunday. Although I will turn the soldering iron off. I see some chat comments. Give me a minute. I'm doing science-y things. All right, so we can just fire this thing up now. This is good to go. It's hanging off the side of the desk. Let's get it connected to Betaflight and come into the motors tab. We will fire up the whoop. And now motors 1 and 3 are the NewBeeDrone 29,000s. Motors 2 and 4 are the Happymodel 36,000s. This is with props on. Ready? Motor 1, which is NewBeeDrone. Let's see what the full... Oh boy. I'm holding the... Oh no, it's hitting the battery lead. Hold up. I gotta pull this off the desk a little bit. There we go. That's better. All right, motor 1, NewBeeDrone, prop on. And one of the things I'm looking for is up here. Up here is the voltage that the board is getting. Even on this power supply, I can see that. Oh, it's also noted right here. So watch this. Watch right here. Oh, hold on. I understand the risks. All right, so watch this voltage sag. Even on the power supply, it sags. 3.8. It sags down to 3.8, so that's kind of perfect. So this is what we're looking for here is the RPM. Ready? I'm going to do all 4 of these. I'm going to do motors 1 and 3. The NewBeeDrone 0702 29,000s. So that's basically 60,000 RPM. It moves around, but we're just getting an average. 60,000, 60,000. See it? Right? So 60,000 is the NewBeeDrone with the prop on. 1210 NewBeeDrone here. So 60,000. There we go. And then we're gonna look at the Happymodel, and that's motors 2 and 4. Ready? Motor 2. 65,000. Motor 4. 64,000. Average it out to 64,000. 64,000. To be expected, right? We've got 36,000 kV motor that's pulling 64,000 RPM, 29,000 kV motor that's pulling 60,000 kV, right? This is what we expect to see. The higher kV motor, 36,000 kV, is pulling more RPM with the propeller on. But watch this. This is where things get kind of sort of weird, but super interesting. It's when we pull the propellers off and we spin these things as if it's a KV test. Again, we can't spin them up to 100%. The 8-bit ESCs have a hard limit as to how high of an RPM they can spin a motor, and we are now beyond that limit. But we don't fly these things without propellers on. And once you put the propeller on, as we just saw, it drags the RPM down to the point where it gives us actual numbers. Right? We didn't get the exact same number between those two, so we got good data. And so, in order to get unloaded RPM data, we just need to not spin it up at 100%. We're going to spin it up to 50%. We're going to do the same thing. And then Kevin's magical spreadsheet will make the conversion for us. Still on 4 volts, powering up the the AIO. We're going to come back here, understand the risks, and now motors 1 and 3 are NewBeeDrone. Ready? Motor 1. Oops, nope, I lied. Well, it's not reporting back RPM. Hold on. Disconnect and reconnect. Understand the risks. There we go. Now it's good. And I don't have to hold it for this because there's no propellers on it. So I can just put it here because I need to get this slider into the middle. So that can hang there. So here's what I need to do with this slider. I need to use the up and down arrows to get it exactly to, we're shooting for 1,500. Right, so I need to get it close, and then 1,500, and 56,000, we're just going to say 56,000 RPM. Ready? So that's the one. Not ready. 56,000, and we're going to do it on the other motor. And 56,000. Good. All right, so now we come in here, and 50% no prop, 56,000. 56000. Ready? And now we're going to test the Happymodel motor. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Remember that number, 56,000. This is the Happymodel motor, 7,000 kV higher. Come on. 60,000. It's not that much higher, right? 60,000. Yesterday they were a little bit closer than that, I think. So 60,000. Not as big of a gap as you would think, right? I believe what's going on is that, and we see this when we fly these two motors, and I'm actually going to, I have a set of these NewBeeDrone 0702 29,000s that I've switched the plugs over to. The NewBeeDrone motors are less efficient. I think that's what we're going to start to figure out here, but let's keep going. Let's keep testing motors. Next thing I want to do is confirm that the 36,000, I have another rig with the 36,000 kV motors. I want to confirm that one AIO is not going to turn different numbers than another. So we're going to test this guy, and we can actually test all four motors on this one. Already has the GemFan biblades on it, so we're good. Let me just check one last thing on the rig that I just flew. I need to make sure that I'm spinning the propellers in the correct direction. If you spin the propellers the wrong way, I think they're more draggy. It might not make a difference, but I don't want to find out the hard way. So let me plug this back in real quick and just make sure that it's set up props in, because that's how the props were on it. I'm pretty sure I confirmed this yesterday, but let's just make sure. Here and motors. Okay, powered up with 4 volts. Understand the risks, and we're just going to spin these motors up a little bit. And we've got props in, props in, props in, props in. Perfect. Okay, cool. Just wanted to check. All right, unplug and unplug. All right, cool. So first little bit of data there. Now we're going to confirm that a different rig, a different AIO, it's also a 2G4, but still, it's a 2G4 with more or less abuse done to it. Let's see how these numbers kind of line up. And we will see motors that are like hot with the props on. Also with the props off. That's something that I have noticed in spinning motors up like this in the past. But it's usually like just one. There'll just be like one that's kind of, yeah, spins up higher. Although so far, each of those motors were pretty damn close to one another. So let me check that everything is spinning the right direction first. So props in, props in, props in, and props in. Great. And the propellers are correct for that. Okay, cool. Prop on test 0702 36,000 to compare to what we just did. Ready? 64,000, 64,000, 64,000, 64, 65,000. Not too bad. Pretty consistent. 64,000 kV. And let's unplug. I think those are the same numbers that we got in the other one. Let's double check. Yep, there it is. All right, cool. Good, 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 good. So that means that you guys can kind of get in on this. If you can make sure that your voltage. So I'm going to put a little note here. Voltage at 3.8 volt. That's what 3.8 is what I'm seeing. I'll show you again in a second. Let me pull the props off. Well, actually, I should put it here. 3.8 volts. Take it at, so I want to put it in here. RPM at 100%. Oh, I guess I also need to look at. Oh, it will be hard for you guys to do this. 1210 prop dash 3.8 volts. Yeah, I gotta add that in there. It has to be there. Dash 3.8 volts. And then with no prop on it, I bet you it's gonna be 4 volts. So I'm just gonna add that. Okay. All right. Cool. So propellers now need to come off. Man, I'm gonna pull a ton of propellers off today. So now that you guys have had time to like see me do this and kind of think through this, what am I missing? What am I missing here? Why am I only realizing this now? Is it? I think I'm only realizing that we can do this now. Because I never realized that we could just spin 50% RPM, and I also never realized that the rated KV numbers on these motors were potentially so off. I don't really need to remove all 4 of these propellers. This is a bit obsessive, but whatever. Let me get caught up on chat. Zach says, howdy, just finished my 75mm 2S HD0 build, 803, 19,000 sub 250 motors, 2.5 minute runtime outside, most fun whoop I've ever built thus far. It's a smooth rocket. 0803, 19, I'm super curious about those motors actually. 2.5 minutes outside, 75mm, excuse me, 2S HD0. Interesting. Are you running those motors at full tilt? So I would expect 3 minutes. Are you like really? It's so hard. Because if you're cruising faster than me, it's really hard to tell. What batteries? Is that a 300 mAh battery or 450 mAh battery? Hopefully that's a 300 mAh battery. Walter says, I think you have too many unknown variables. Yeah, there are a lot of unknown variables, but I think we're still going to get some half decent data here. Factories work with companies and get their hands on, so run a badge. It's like the Weering. So it'll be a 205 some minus. Yeah, there's a lot. This is not a perfect test, but this is a test nonetheless. I think we're gonna get some interesting data on this. Kevin Sumner says div/0 errors will go away as you fill in the sheet. Very cool. Kevin Sumner says I think it's actually unclean power coming out of that power supply at low voltages. However, the only way to verify is oscilloscope. Kevin also says don't forget to fill in voltage. Oh, did you add a column for voltage? Oh, look at you go. Shit. Voltage at 100%, 1210 prop. Okay, so I think Kevin already did that. Let's change this one to take this out. I'm going to test the voltage in a second here. But I think yeah, it's going to be even across the board, 3.8. Yeah, this will be, oops, shit. Copy, paste, there we go. Thank you, dude. I see what you did here. Voltage is 50% no prop, RPM at 100%, 1210, 16. We'll check the voltage there. Okay, cool. All right, unloaded RPM numbers coming up. And And for this, I can just let it sit on the desk. Okay. All right. That's fine. That can hang out there. Connect. And there we go. Motors. Understand the risks. Here we go. So we want to go to 50%. Get it close, and then use the up and down arrows to get it exactly right. 60,000 voltage is sagging down to 398, which is basically fine. 60,000, that's what we want to see. We're just getting consistent numbers right now. 60,000, again, great. We're checking the consistency, I should say. 60,000, a little bit high on that one, but still, I was seeing 16,000. 60,000, sorry, and then 60. Perfect. Good. Better consistency than I thought, to be really honest. So we're good, and that also confirms that the voltage is sitting right at 4 volts. So we can... No, wait. No, wrong column. Scroll over to the left. Yeah, 4.0. Not 40, 4.0. We can take this, copy it, and drag it down like that. All right, good deal. So 60,000, that's what we just retested, and they pretty much all came up right around 60. I am wildly rounding these numbers off because I know that this is not a perfect test. But yeah, we gonna be all right. We're not looking for exact, we're looking for like big differences between the two. So, estimated KV. Oh, look at that. So here's what's super interesting, right? Estimated KV at 50% throttle, no prop. This is a 29,000 kV NewBeeDrone motor. 29,000 kV 0702. The estimated KV is coming in at 28,000. That looks about right. Look at this shit. 36,000 kV Happymodel motor. The estimated KV is only coming in at 30,000, but it's doing a lot more work. Where's the 12? So then, all right, so one of the things, so, all right, let me grab the calculator real quick. So once the prop is on, we don't need the estimated KV. The prop on number is just to determine the difference. So basically what I'm looking at, right, is, so for the NewBeeDrone motor, 60,000, just call it 60, divided by, so that's with the prop on, divided by 56 equals, let me do that the other way around. Let me do the small number divided by the big number. So basically 56 divided by 60 equals 0.93, right? So 0.93 is the NewBeeDrone differential between prop on and prop off. And then if we go over to the Happymodel, so I'm just going to type it in the chat real quick, 0.93. If we go over to the Happymodel, it should be different. 60 divided by 64. Wow, 0.93. It's pretty close. 0.9375. Hold on. Maybe it'll be closer than I thought. I'll be damned. Hold on. 56 divided by 60 equals 0.933. So 0.933 versus 0.937. Yeah. All right. So we are seeing a difference. So now let's get another motor in there. Let's get another couple motors in there to beef that up and to give us more numbers on here. I was hoping that we would see a bigger gap between those two, but maybe not. Hang on a second. Just getting these props put back on this rig. because we are going to fly. You should have already flown. Wait, no, it's early. You should be. You should have a plan to fly your 6 batteries for today, my friends. I'm going to get a few in before the end of this live stream, probably with this 36,000 kV rig, because I'm tearing apart a lot of the other rigs to do some of this testing here. Okay, so what's next? We've got... Fire up these 40,000s. Yeah. Let's try these 40,000s. Oh, wait. No. Here we go. This will be super interesting. Here's some 802s. We'll go super low KV. Here's some Happymodel 802 19,000s. Here they are on the sheet. Let's just add HM. All right, 802 19,000s. Hopefully, this will make a big difference. This is actually a... Oh, by the way, hey, GetFPV has a whole bunch of 2G4s in stock. Go snag some. Ah, shit, I can't test this. It has pH 2.0. But I can certainly take a motor off of here. Let me do that. I can pop a motor off of here, and we'll put it onto this guy. Oh, you know what we can do real quick? Let's take a look at the BetaFPV motors on the Air 65 with the wrecked VTX from me putting it into the water. This will also confirm that other AIOs can turn the same sort of RPM. All right, so plugging this in. Oh, these are tri-blades on here, though. I got to switch these props out. All right, hold up. Hold on. Kilo Zebra says... TTI FPV, just an idea for testing motors in flight. You could use the audio frequency coming from the motors to figure out how fast they're spinning. Very true. 60,000 RPM equals 1 kilohertz audio pitch. That's super interesting. Well, in flight, Betaflight will give us the... so this is the other thing, if we beef this up, that we can test even more. Betaflight in the post-flight statistics will tell us maximum the maximum RPM. The problem with that is that when we're flying these things, they have to be on a battery. So we would have to like pull a battery off the charger, plug it in, immediately go full throttle. And like, where can I do that? I can't really do that across the room in the basement here. So then I have to go upstairs, and it's like, if I let it, realistically, we'd have to do it outside. And so the amount of you think there's a lot of variables of what we're doing right now. That would be like next level, tons of variables. So yeah, I don't know if we can really do that. These are, let's get some numbers on BetaFPV 0702 SE 27,000 kV motors. These are the ones with the bearings, I think. Somebody knows. The SE motors, are they the ones with the bearings or no? So this is props off first. Props off. Fire up Betaflight. Connect. Battery's plugged in. It's powered on. Should be good here. Nope. Hold on. Should have power. Oh, it does. It's not spinning the motors though. That's weird. Hold on. What? Oops, nope. That's not what we want. Understand the risks. Huh, that's weird. Why is it not? What's your deal, little guy? It was flying fine, but the VTX just wasn't working. I'm not getting any motor beeps. Oh, I desoldered the motors. Yeah, I desoldered the motors. I forgot that I did that. Okay, not checking those. And they don't have plugs on them. Why did I guess I desoldered the motors because I knew that the AIO was blown up. Oh well. All right, we're not testing. We're not testing BetaFPV motors. God, that's annoying. I am gonna get another air AIO though, and get that rig back up in the air. Can't test this. It's PH 2.0. That was a fail. Okay, let's test 32,000 kV motors. All right, so I'm gonna go back to this little test rig and start to pull stuff apart. Kevin Sumner says, "Do you want a column for the prop on differential?" Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. That would be amazing, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Doubles FPV says, "You said volunteering is a great way to meet cool people. So after stalking everybody's Castle Crash videos, I took leave of faith yesterday to sign myself up. Nice. Hope to meet you there, Rips and Packs, bro. Yeah, man. I'm super looking forward to it." Kevin says, "Pro tip: page up, page down to jump the throttle by 10%. Not anymore. They took that out. For a while, it was hold shift and arrow up and arrow down. And then it was page up and page down, and now that doesn't work anymore, which is super annoying because that was really handy. But I'll try it again in a minute. They've changed the motors tab. If you hit any key on the bottom of your keyboard, it instantly deactivates the motors. It's for safety, which is great. So if you hit Shift, Control, Option, Command, or Spacebar in that motors tab, it automatically shuts the motors off, which is a really nice little kind of safety thing that they're doing now. So yeah, that's kind of cool. I have other... Hold on. To speed this up, I have other built rigs that I should be able to just spin up. Yeah. Here we go. 32,000 kV motors on here. This has 36s. We've already confirmed that the 36s are pretty accurate. You know what's interesting, though? This is a different AIO. Let's keep the myth busting going. This is a Mobula 6 2024 AIO with 36,000 kV motors on it. Let's see if this will turn the same RPM as a 2G4 AIO. It should, but stranger things have happened, right? Let's take a look here. Got this. Got this. I'm not going to bother pulling these propellers off. I'm just going to test this props on. And I'm not really going to learn anything here, but this will potentially... I don't know. Come on, Beta Flight. Come on, Beta Flight! What are you doing? Work! Alright, let's try this. Sometimes Beta Flight gets all angry. Come on. There we go. All right, so let's just see real quick. This should turn, I think it was 60,000. This is a 2G4 version 2. Whoa. Yep, 64. Good. 64. 64. 64. Cool. Pretty, way more consistent than I thought. So yeah, nothing wrong with the, you're getting full power with the 2G4. And again, that is static air. That is asking this thing to do more work than it ever needs to do in the actual, when it's actually flying. So what do we got here? This rig has, oh, awesome. This rig has 28,500s on it. Perfect. That'll be great to test. This one has 32,000 kV motors on it. Great. And then this one here has... Shit, yeah. This one has 40,000s. Oh, but I can use this guy for that. All right. Sweet. We don't have to... You don't have to sit here and watch me unplugging motor plugs and unscrewing screws for a minute. I can use a couple of these rigs that are already built. Although I do need to pull the propellers off this one. So this is the rig with 28,500 kV motors. I just need to pull the props, and then we'll see what these turn in at. All right. This fella is almost ready. Come on. I don't need to test all four. I can just test motors 1, 2, and 3. That's fine. Okay, motors number 1, 2, and 3 do not have propellers on them. You know, we can also test props. We can use this to spin props up to see how draggy they are. Ooh, that's actually, that would be really handy to know. I'm gonna spin, so I still have one HQ YOLO prop on here. I'm gonna spin this up, and we'll compare it to the 1210 biblades. Ooh, that could be, because like I don't know, the pitch numbers sometimes don't make a lot of sense on these, and yeah, that's kind of cool. We're going to try that. But first, let's get props off numbers. So these are, what did I say? 28,500s. Should be at least. Let's see. Motor 1. Oh, no. 50% throttle. 50% throttle. Oh, no, it's page up and page down still does work. Awesome. 50,000. Motor 2. Oh boy. Motor 2 doesn't want to spin. What's happening, Motor 2? What's your deal? What? Motor 2, what's your damage? Oh, it's like bound up. What's happening there, little friend? There we go. He's fine. What did I say? 50,000, motor 1? Motor 2, be cool. 52,000. Let's recheck motor 1. Yeah, 50,000. Call it 51,000. So 51, 52. 47. Jesus. No, there it's up to 50. 51, 52, 50. This is the one with the prop on. I'm not going to spin it up yet. 51, 52, 50. So 51 is right in the middle. So 51,000 kV. Unplug everything. From 28,500. 51,000 kV. We're going to insert one row below. Oh, shit. Didn't mean to do that. Insert one below. HM 0702 28,000. 28.5. Okay. No prop. 50,000. All right. No. What? It's 51. We had 50, 51, 52. So we're going to round off to 51. All right. 4.0 volts. $25,000. So look at that. 28,000. So yeah, the difference is much tighter here. 28. Yeah, look at this, guys. Look at this. See, now we're starting to really see weird shit happening. Let me just double check that these are 28,500. 28,500. 28.5. These are the WeBleed motors. 28.5. Yep, 28.5. All right, cool. So look at this. Look at this, man. 29,000 kV, 28,500 kV. Look at the difference in RPM. Look at the difference in the estimated kV. Isn't that wild? Now watch this. Now we're going to put propellers on, and it's going to get truly weird, right? Check this shit out. So this is, why is this set up props out? That's weird. Props out is here. Props out here. I guess it doesn't matter. This is a drift car chasing rig, so props in, props out doesn't really matter. I'm not really doing dives or anything like that with it. Okay, so now we've got 3 1210 bi-blades and 1 of these YOLO HQ tri-blades, just out of curiosity. But watch this. I think we might see something really interesting here. Ready? I think these are going to turn a higher RPM with the props on. I think they're going to be able to do more work. But let's find out together. Motors. All right, ready? Motor 1. And now we're going to go up to 100% because we're not worried about that RPM limit. 60,000. 60,000. 60,000. And now watch this. Motor 4 with the tri-blade. Let's see what happens here. Wow, 60,000. I'll be damned. Okay, and so Happymodel 0702, RPM at 100%, 60,000. Same prop on RPM as the NewBeeDrone motor. So, now, this is where things get kind of confusing, but kind of interesting too. What I think is going on is that the NewBeeDrone, and so when we run these motors, when I fly this rig with these Happymodel 28,500s, I get over 3 minutes of runtime. When I fly those NewBeeDrone motors, I'm gonna get around 2.5 minutes of runtime, and I think we're seeing the tail of what's going on here. I believe NewBeeDrone is winding this. You could look at it either way. I guess we should look at it the other way. I guess we should look at it as Happymodel is winding their motors to be a lower kV. They can afford to wind their motors at a lower actual kV, because the motor is optimized and it pushes the propeller harder because it has potentially more copper in the stator, or stronger magnets, or a better flux ring, or a tighter air gap. But these two motors are a pretty different actual measured kV, but then with a propeller on, they're turning the same RPM. So at full throttle, these two motors are going to perform very similar, but they're going about it in a drastically different way. The NewBeeDrone motor is wound in a way that with the propeller off, it's turning a KV with the propeller off that's closer to what its actual rated number is, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I believe this starts to kind of tell the tale of efficiency in these motors. And it's looking like these Happymodel motors are wound in a way that they're actually not putting they're not turning the same kV as the marking, but then they make really, really good power. So let's keep going. Have I lost absolutely everyone? I'm kind of walking through this myself too, right? I didn't do any of this testing because I figured we could kind of do it together, and then in the chat, as I make mistakes, you guys can hopefully correct me, or we can all sort of learn together. So yeah. Hold on. Zach says, regarding the 0803 motor, it's the same as yours, 2S walk snail. 0803s are a tad lighter than the 1002s. It'll be interesting to hear how they compare. Yeah, I'm super interested in those motors. Walter says, drag extra factor, but a good one. He also says they learned a lot. Propellers, Corsair Warbird, it's interesting. Pequeño Frijole says, in my testing for RPM per group, I used post-flight OSD for max RPM, and they give a 2-second full throttle punch straight up outdoors. Would that be possibly more accurate than holding the rig? I don't think so. I think using the power supply here and hand holding the rig is the way to go rather than putting a battery on it. And then Walter says you're not lost good way. All right, cool. Okay, so I am very surprised that the HQ Tri-Blade was able to turn to the same RPM. That's kind of crazy. I don't know what to think about that, if I'm honest. I thought for sure, because we went from a 2-blade to a 3-blade, I thought for sure that the HQ prop would turn a lower RPM. But HQ does not tell us what the pitch is. So maybe on their ultralight tri-blade, maybe it's a 10 pitch. You know, the pitch of the propeller is a measure of how much distance it will travel in like a fluid, basically, with one full rotation. So, yeah, if they're the same pitch, if the tri-blade is a lower pitch, man, it certainly doesn't look like it. They certainly appear to have the same blade angle, but there's more that goes into pitch than blade angle. The shape of the blade has a lot to do with it as well. I would not have guessed that. That's yeah. I'm a little bit confused by that, if I'm honest. But that's okay. We can be confused. Props out, props in. I'm going to switch this rig to props in, actually, real quick. Since I have these off, I might as well. Props in seems to be, lately, kind of the way to go. God forbid I ever try to drop elevation with this. Ooh, 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 ooh. Is the hub on this guy starting to crack? Oh, it is indeed. Or is that in the material? Nope. The hub on this HQ ultralight prop has a big old crack in it. Look at that. Interesting. I've never seen that before. I'm going to keep an eye on that. I don't love that. It still seems to go onto the motor shaft fine, though. So maybe it's okay. But yeah, there's a visible crack top to bottom. Oh my god, this one too. What? This one too. Oh my god, they all have cracks in the hub. That's weird. These are custom dyed, so I guess you could maybe make the argument that during the dyeing process over at Tiny Whoop, it's cracking the hub a little bit, but they're fitting fine on the motor shaft, so I think they're okay. That's odd, but it'll be all right. Hold on one second. Let me just flip this from props in to props out. Super quick. All right, and motors, props in, save and reboot. Okay, connect, murders, motor direction, understand the risks, wizard, spin, motor 1, out, change it to in. Oh, Christ. These are not reversing. Motor 2. All right, I have to do this in ESC configurator. Hang on. This will be but a second. Connect. Read settings. All four of them are going the wrong direction. So we're going to go normal to reversed, reverse to normal, reverse to normal, reverse to normal. Right settings. Okay. And now, boy, is that not time consuming. Now if I spin them up a little bit, 1 is props in, 2 is props in, 4 is props in, 3 is props in, we're good. Okay. I would have forgotten to do that, and then I would take this to the drift car place this Thursday and be pissed because it wouldn't be flyable. All right, so we've tested 28,500s. Let's move to 32,000 kV motors. And I'm just going to pull 2 of these props off. I don't need to test so many. Okay, I'm not going to pull that one off because it won't come off. Hey, this one's coming off already. So we're going to test motor 2 and maybe motor 3. See if this prop will come off without a massive fight. There we go. Cool. Test motors 2 and 3. These are Happymodel EX1404 30,000s. Here we go. And so we're going to do props off first. Motors 2 and 3. All right. Zoom you guys in a little bit. Oops. Shit. Motors. Understand the risk. All right. Motor 2. Nope, 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 nope. I only want 50%. There you got to see the limit. 85,000 RPM is the limit. 1,500, 56,000. And 56,000. Great. Just out of curiosity, these are the ones with the props on. 64,000. 64,000. Interesting. I forget. 56,000. All right, 56. So, okay, unplug. And unplug. All right, 56. So this is Happymodel EX1404 32,000. Nope, here it is. HM. And it was 56,000, right? That's the same as these NewBeeDrones. Interesting. I don't trust myself. I'm going to double check it one more time. Hold on. Pretty sure it was 56,000. I'm going to do this and then I'll just smash the propellers on. It'll be fine. Won't waste much time here. Pretty sure it was 56. But it didn't take long to check it. Motors, this. Motor 2. Yep, 56. Motor 3. 56. Yep, okay. And now I'm just going to smash propellers onto these two. They are props out. Props out. And so props out here. Putting a bi-blade 1210 on. There's one. And props out. We need this one. All right, let's see. See what they do with 1210s on them. Motor 2, full power. Whoops. Click here. Motor 2, 64,000. Motor 3, 64,000. This is where it starts to get weird. 64. This is not necessarily where it starts to get weird. This is just where we start to see the difference between loaded and unloaded. 32,000 kV 702, 36,000 kV 702. Look at that. Look at that. But when you fly these two motors, they absolutely perform different. Unquestionably, there is more power on the 36,000 kV motor. Because when you fly it for real, it's not tied down. It starts hurtling through the sky, and it gets incoming air which makes the motor's job easier and lets the motor turn to a higher RPM. Walter says, if the point of propeller goes through the speed of sound, it'll give resonation. Yeah, we're not close to the speed of sound yet, so we're good there. What I would, what we can also check here is 24K versus 96K, but let's just keep going. Let's test as many different motors as we can, and then we'll start screwing around with that stuff. I wonder if on the 36,000 kV motor, if we go up to 96K, I wonder if we'll see like a noticeable increase. I wonder if that'll be able to push the prop significantly harder. But again, we'll test that probably on another stream. Right now, let's get a big chunk of data here, and then we'll... yeah. The main thing that I'm trying to figure out here is Happymodel motors versus every other motor brand. What's kind of happening? Why is Happymodel able to produce motors that are so much more powerful and so much more efficient? And like, we're not going to find out how here, but we're going to like kind of confirm that that's actually happening, right? Because up until this point, it's just like, yeah, you know, when I fly them, I feel more power. This is cool to put some actual data on that. So this guy is good to go. We're done testing with him. 40,000 kV motors. This should be interesting. Props on. Totally different AIO, too. Now we're going over to a BetaFPV AIO. The cross style. Props on first. 40,000 million quadrillion billion RPM. KV, rather. Well, yeah. In a second, it'll be... Well, no, I bet you it spins up to 64,000. Which is not the limit. There is no hard limit down at 64,000 kV. Let's see. 64,000. 64,000. I did see 64,900 though. Whoa, boy. Motor 3 reset the ESC. 64,000 touching into 65. 64, 65,000. So they are turning a little bit more RPM, but... not much. And now let's take a propeller or two off. Wait, hold on. It only barely touched 65,000. So I'm going to put it in as 64,000. I'll put 500. It was turning a little bit higher than the 36Ks. And I want to add HM to this. Okay. 702, 40,000. Yep. All right, so now let me pull a couple of propellers off here. Motor 1. I'm just going to pull that one prop off. Kind of running out of time here. Just pulling one prop off. I've been really surprised at how dialed in these motors have been. Ready? So motor 1 prop is off. Go up to 50%. And we're getting 70,000. That's the highest that we've seen. 70,000. And now let's take a look. So here... wow, that's a big jump. Yo, that is a massive jump. Look at that. From 36,000 kV to 40,000 kV, we went from 60,000 RPM to 70,000 RPM. But look, the estimated kV is still lagging behind. quite a bit, right? 36 down to 30, 40 down to 35. Interesting. Let's put this prop back on, and we're done with this rig. Could be something with the ESC, technically speaking. Maybe this ESC is pushing harder somehow. I doubt it, but you never know. We'll dive into stuff like that in the future. Okay, so what's up next? Now we got to start pulling motors. All right, I'm gonna pull a bunch of motors off this. Chat, what do you guys think? What do you think about how this has gone so far? And or where this is going? Kind of interesting, right? Seeing like one motor that I'm really surprised at how low the estimated KV numbers are on the Happymodel motors, and I'm shocked how dialed in the NewBeeDrone motor is. Right now, we're gonna try another NewBeeDrone motor and a VCI motor. So here we got 30,000. I think. Wait, no, I don't have another NewBeeDrone motor. I was really banking on testing those BetaFPV motors. I really wanted to test those. But actually, Joshua just sent me a box of goodies. Maybe there's a BetaFPV motor in that box. Hold on. We're gonna test 4 different motors now. 4 different motors. One of them is going to be a VCI 0702 29,000. I'm going to bolt this guy on here. And I'm just going to start testing. No, I should test 2 at a time. Because I've put like 4 motors onto one of these, and one motor is like drastically higher or drastically lower. Come on, get in there. There we go. Okay. All right, so we're going to test 2 VCI 0702s, and then we're going to test 2 something else. Maybe these are all on Blue Jay with 48K PWM, for the record. Chris Rosser put out an excellent video on with some PWM with some Blue Jay ESC settings a couple days ago. That's really good. But what I want you to remember is that 96K PWM frequency, there are no free lunches. You're going to lose engine motor braking. It doesn't look like you lose a lot of motor braking, but motor braking is super important. 702 29,000. So there's the same motors in here that I have. Here we go. VCI 703 23,500s. We're going to test the hell out of those. BetaFPV CO3 camera. CO3 camera. Brushless motors. Here we go. Yes. Oh, thank you, Joshua, for sending these. And then 1102, 22,000. Probably not going to test those, but all right. Great. VCI motor showdown. 702 versus 703. Here we go. I haven't flown these 703s yet. These could be super interesting. I'm actually really interested in the RCinpower 703s too. All right. Look how VCI packages their motors. They put them in little like vacuum sealed baggies with a little tear part on them. Kind of cool. Okay, 703. Man, these look tall. You can see the proportions are quite different on these 703s. Okay, so I need to pull these other two motors off and swap these on. What are you guys talking about in chat? Notice I see trash magic. That's a now famous description of Happymodel motors from Quad 66. It's so good. Quad 66 tested these NewBeeDrone motors, the BetaFPV motors, and the Happymodel motors a few months ago. And basically at the end of the testing, he's like, yeah, the Happymodels are more powerful and more efficient, but they sound like trash, but they're magic. Like, you know, they're bushings, they're not bearings, and they can get a little rattly, but it doesn't matter. Like, they sound like trash, but they are a magic motor. They make more power and they're more efficient, and that's weird. All right, last NewBeeDrone 29,000 kV motor coming off here. Man, I wish I had a set of BetaFPV 0702s with motor plugs on them that I could test. That is a shame. At some point, I will get my hands on them. Or I will break down and direct solder one of those that I have. Actually, no. You know what? I'll get a replacement Air 65 AIO. I'll put that thing back together, and then I'll be able to test those motors. But then they'll be direct soldered, which is kind of not a fair fight. Oh man, we could use this to check direct soldered versus plugs. Although, I mean, there's no chance that plugs are going to flow electricity better than direct soldered. I don't do the direct soldered thing because it's not serviceable and it's a pain in the ass. I'm almost certain that there's at least a little bit of efficiency to be had by going to direct soldered, but in my opinion, it's not worth it. Especially with how much testing I personally do. For you guys, yeah, if you're not going to do a lot of testing, sure, that's a little bit different. But for me, you know, case in point, look what I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? Like, this testing that I'm doing right now, I would still be on the first set of motors if I had to direct solder all these. So yeah, right now is a perfect example of why motor plugs for tiny whoops, I think, are a necessary evil. All right, there we go. 4 VCI motors plugged in and ready to rip. 2 702s, 2 703s. Man, look at the, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but there is a huge difference in height between these two motors. Hold on. Yeah, you can totally see it. 703 on the left, 702 on the right. Look at that difference, man. That's cool. 703 is a really interesting stator size. It's comparable to 802, but different at the same time. I don't have any 703s on this sheet. Let's put it here. VCI 0703. What's the KV again? 23,500. 23,000. 23.5. Okay. What? Nope, not comma. 0703, 23.5. Okay. Yeah. 40. Okay. All right, so we're going to test this VCI here. And then we're also going to test VCI 0702. What are they? I got to look again. The 0702 is 29,000. 29,000, so let's insert below. And it's going to be VCI 0702 29K. Is that what I just said? 29K? Jesus. Yep, 29. All right. Let's take a look. Any guesses? I'll give you a second to think about that. I can tell you exactly what I think is going to happen. And if you've been paying attention, you probably know what's about to happen. All right, props off numbers. 0702s are, well, I mean, this will be super obvious. The KV is so different between these motors. This will be blindingly obvious which motor is which. Well, it should be at least. Props off, 50%. Let's see. 56,000. Wait, hold on. Yep, 56,000, 56, 57. 55, 56. Wow, this is way closer than I thought. 46, there we go. Never mind. 46. 46, 47. Yeah. So 46 versus 56. Yeah, 46 versus 56. Hold on now. 46 and 56. Hey, look at that. Same as the NewBeeDrone 29K. 56,000. Starting to see a trend, my friends. Was it 46, right? For the 23,500 kV? Look, dead on the money. Dead on the money for those 703. And then when I'm inserting a line, it's deleting the formula, I think. But look, it's the same. 56, 29,000 kV, 56. I bet you when we test the BetaFPV motors, the exact same thing happens. I've got to get these props spinning in the whatever. I'm just gonna put whatever propellers on. No, I'll set it up for props in. Props in. Props in. Kevin, how do I insert lines without it deleting the formula? All right, props are on. They might fly off. Props in, props in, props in, props in. Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Okay. 1210. Gem fans are now on here. Plugging USB back in. Plugging power supply back in. All right, first thing I need to do is get these spinning in the right direction. Motor direction wizard. Close. Actually, I'm going to tell this props in, save and reboot. Just because I want this thing to be props in moving forward. Well, not modes, motors. Got the M right. Motor direction, I understand the risks. Wizard, start and spin. Great. Motor number 1 is correct. 2 is incorrect. Hopefully it reverses. Yes. 3 is wrong. That means 4 is going to be right. Yep. Props in, props in, props in, props in. Start motors. Do this just to double check. In. Good. We want to make sure we're spinning the propeller in the correct direction during these tests. Okay, here we go. Motor 1. Full throttle now. 60,000. Motor 2. 60,000. Seen a trend? Whoa! 64. 64. Yo! 60 and 64. Okay. Hold up. 60 and 64. That is actually super fucking interesting. 60 and then 64. All right, yo. That is really cool. That is really, really, really cool. So, we talk about how you can keep moving the KV up higher and higher and higher and higher, and the motor will make slightly more power. But then you can also make the stator bigger, and a bigger stator is going to have more torque to push the propeller harder. And so we're in this weird, not weird, but 702s, when you hold the rig in your hands and it has to take all this static air and then move it, right? It's not moving through the air. This is a static test like what we get with a thrust stand. 702 motors really run out of steam. We can see this. We can see this right here. So we've got 702. So this is prop on RPM here. And now look what happens. 702, 36,000 kV, 702, 32,000 kV. No extra RPM in a static loaded environment. Look at this shit. 23,000. We just tested an 0703, much bigger stator, but 23,500 kV motor, low ass KV, just turned the same RPM as a 702 36,000 kV motor, and this is only on a 1210 propeller. This is not on like a big ass 1.6 inch prop. That is, I didn't think it would be that drastic. The prop, so then you would think like, oh well, I just want to run this 0703 23,000. No. This is a much heavier motor, right? And again, this is a loaded test, a loaded thrust stand. This is not a good indication of what actually happens in the air. In the air, this motor, I'll show you. Yeah. Here. This is great. We're gonna fly a battery real quick. We're gonna fly a real quick battery on the rig that's got 36,000 kV motors. And then we're going to look at the post-flight stats. Let me make sure that the post-flight stats are on for RPM. Ooh, yeah, this is going to be good. We can do this real quick and get a little bit of flying in while we're at it, because I did put 6 batteries in the title. Make sure you've flown your 6 batteries today, friends. Don't not fly. It's like 15 minutes of your life. Do it. You're going to get better. It's going to be worth it. What am I looking for? OSD, post-flight stats. Maximum RPM. G-force maximum. ESC RPM maximum. Great. Perfect. Watch this. And now this is not on a power supply. This is just with a battery, which is gonna sag quite a bit. But watch what happens. I'm super curious what the RPM is gonna be. I'm going to fly it straight upstairs and do a full throttle blast as early as I possibly can in this battery. Ready? And then we're going to take a look. So look how much the battery has sagged already. It's already sagging down to 4.27. I'm going to limp it. Look, even at just hover, it sags down to 408. So we're not going to get that full voltage, but I don't think it's going to matter. Ready? That was a pretty good one. Ready? What's the number going to be? 56,000. There you go, my friends. 56,000, because it's in the air and there's incoming moving air into the propeller, so the motors have to do a lot less work, right? Because they've got 10, 20, 30, 40 miles an hour of incoming air. This is why thrust stand testing of these 0702 motors doesn't really work, because we've optimized these motors so much that they they come alive in the real world versus on the thrust stand. Wow, that's a big difference. And that's pulling RPM data from the same thing, right? We're looking at bidirectional DShot RPM data, which is not the most accurate thing in the world, but it's pretty damn accurate. Man, these 36,000 kV motors rip. Just bring this battery down. Oh, God. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Hey. No, no, no. What? I think I'm stuck like under a plastic bag of some sort. I hear my savior. My savior. Thank you! Teddy going crazy. Teddy going crazy. Teddy spaghetti time. Oh, he hit me! He got me! I love it. Where's that little dog? There he is. Hey, little buddy boy. Smack me out of the air. I see it. I see it. 56,000 kV. Yo, is that 10,000 more kV? Hey, Flyo 6 batteries today, friends. You can thank me in a couple of months when you're an absolute tiny whooping ninja, railing through the house, power looping, Maddie flipping, doing all the things. Ah, I tried to get like... Oh, super weird with it. Hey, oh God. Oh God, that's coming my way. Look at the runtime, man. 2.5 minutes. We were railing upstairs. We were absolutely blasting upstairs. And we're still at like 3 point... I'm looking at the battery voltage instead of where I'm going. We're still hovering at 3.58, 3.57. These Happymodel motors are magic. Trash magic. As Quad 66 puts it. Look, yeah, there it is. There's the super, like, whipped out cool whip. Ah. Oh God, nope. That battery's probably in a good spot, right? Yeah, great. 56,000. Yo, 50,000 on a dead battery. So there you go. That's important to understand. All right? That once they're up in the air. So here, what's the difference up in the air? 56,000. Yeah, 12,000. So this is the loaded, you know, me holding the quad. Wait. Whoa, it's lower. No. Wow, I thought it was higher. Sorry. 56 versus 64. Okay, so it's pulling the battery down hard. If we had a battery that could maintain 4 volt... Damn it. I knew I should have done 3.8 volts on the power supply. Shit. The battery is... This battery in flight at full throttle is probably sagging all the way down to 3.6. If somebody can... is somebody willing to rewind and take a look when I was absolutely like railing across the room how low this battery was sagging? Damn. 56. I thought it was 40. I thought it was 46,000, not 64,000. Shit. I should have put the power supply at 3.8. Though even at 3.8, though, I think this battery is sagging way down below 3.8. I think it's sagging down close to like 3.6, 3.5 at full throttle, especially on these mega power motors. Shit. Okay, that's fine. Are we good with these VCI motors? I think we are. I think we're good with these VCIs. Let's get them off of here. We can do a couple more motors here. Yo, these 0703s pushed this propeller hard. That is wild. I didn't think it would make that much of a difference. It makes sense. It really does. So what that also tells us is that even at 29,000 kV, the 702s, like 29,000 kV is a really high kV for a 702. But then yeah, once it's flying through the air, it really really helps. Black Horse says static RPM will be the highest possible. The faster you go through the air, the less RPM there is. That's not my understanding of it. As the faster you go through the air, the less work the motor's going to have to do. So it's going to be able to push much higher. Notice says saw 3.6 while ripping upstairs when you parked and saw 56,000 kV. I wonder if there's math that can be done to go to convert 56. Somebody will know how to do this. Somebody knows math in chat. So if we're getting 56,000 kV on 3.6 volts, what would that, not kV, 56,000 RPM on 3.6 volts, what RPM would we get on 4 volts? On 3.8 volts, because that's what the power supply is sagging down to. So, well, I can do that, I think. That's just a percentage thing, isn't it? 3.8 divided by 3.6 equals 1.05. So yeah, so 1.05 times 56,000 equals 59,000. Either I did the math wrong, or what Black Horse said is correct. Ooh, that's interesting. Ooh. Oh. I mean, it kind of doesn't matter, because even though we're seeing on a loaded thrust test the same RPM from a 32,000 kV motor to a 36,000 kV motor, for anybody that's flown a 702, 32,000 and a 36,000, the 36,000 100% makes more power. It's obvious. You can hear it in the RPM. You can feel it. So yeah. Ooh, interesting stuff. Super interesting stuff. Trying to wrap my head around it. I think that my guess is that the battery is sagging in flight. The battery is sagging down lower than what we can see. That's still my guess. I've got, what's the next motor we're going to test? WeBleedFPV 0702 32,500. This will be interesting. This should be exactly the same as the 32,000, but it only takes a second to bolt a couple up and try them. So let's do it. Walter says, is not in CLI dump. What's that mean? What are we talking about, Walter? So when I'm holding the quad and I go full throttle, each motor and propeller has to pull static air, not moving air, and then accelerate it and push it out. Versus when I go hauling across the living room, there's 10, 20, 30, 40 miles an hour of incoming air. So I would think, and this is the I thought this was the common knowledge in the tiny whoop world. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would think that that incoming air would allow the motor to spin up to a higher RPM, right? Because the incoming air is easier for it to accelerate. The air is already going 20, 30, 40 miles an hour, so the propeller should be able to spin higher, right? Right? And that makes sense because when we spun up that bigger stator volume motor that's a lower KV, the 703 23500, since it's a bigger stator, it's able to push that propeller harder. That's it, 8-bit FPV, perfect. It would take less energy to spin to that RPM with incoming air, right? So unless we're running into the cap of the motor, which we're not, because they're spinning, right? So the motor that we just tested was 0702 36,000 kV, right? So no propeller on, it's doing 120,000 RPM at 100% throttle, right? Double this, because this is 50% here. Versus with the prop on, it's only able to turn 64,000 RPM, right? Crom says you can test your incoming air RPM by blowing on the prop when it's full blast, but I agree that's how it should work. Fucking great. Yes. All right. Let me bolt one more motor on here. And then I'm going to do that. But you guys are going to have to look at the RPM. I don't know if I'm going to be able to look at the RPM and blow into this damn thing at the same time. But yeah, we could totally test that. Good call, homie. Homie! All right, motors 1 and 2 are now Happymodel 0702 32500s. This is kind of a silly test, but just for the sake of argument, comparing Tiny Whoop 32,000s to Weebleed 32,500s, the difference should be so small that we can't tell, but I mean, you never know. You never know. All right, plugging this in. And plugging this in. I wonder how much air velocity we can make with our face and lungs and mouths. I might as well bolt on 2 more motors while I'm here. Yes, BetaFPV 0702. Oh, damn it, these are 0802. Well, that's okay. These are BetaFPV 802 23,000s. Come on now. 802 SE 23,000s. BFPV 0802 23K. All right, let's bolt 2 of these on, and then we will test that. Andrew Taylor says use your hair dryer on the prop. I wouldn't. I bet you I can blow harder than an hair dryer. I personally don't own a hair dryer. I'm sure Maggie does, but it's all the way upstairs. Damn, I wish there were a set of BetaFPV 0702s in here, but this is okay. Because, what is this, 23,000 kV? Whatever. As we get more and more data, this will just kind of beef up, and we'll be able to really see some of these things kind of changing. This is totally fine. Right. Plugging this motor in. And plugging this motor in. Kevin Sumner says a hair blower will blow more consistently for a lot longer. That's true. That's true. But I want to get a burst of I want to get like a big burst of wind going in and see. I want there to be like a big change if possible. That would be cool. All right. I'm going to put like the RPM full screen for you guys, and then you'll hear me. Hopefully you'll hear me. You know what? I'll be able to tell by the RPM of the propeller. I'll be able to hear the propeller spin up to a higher RPM, I'll bet you. Or lower. Or lower. Black Horse says, if you fly into the wind, are you going slower or faster? It depends on if you're talking about ground speed or airspeed. Ground speed, you're going slower. Okay, props off test first. We've got... Why is this motor all bound up? Why is this motor all bound up? That doesn't feel right at all. Oh, well, this one's not even plugged in. I think these motors might be rubbing on the frame here, but hang on. Let's just try it. We will know right away if it is. All right, BetaFPV 802s versus WeBleed 702s on the constant voltage source. And I can just hang that off the desk. All right, cool. Here we go. And connect. And motors. And right. Zoom you guys in. This is not the blowing on the thing test yet. Motor 1. 49,000. Oh, motor 2 won't spin. That one felt like it was binding up a little bit. Something's going on with it. Hold on. Let's see if it'll turn. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, motor 2. 49,000. These should be the same. Yeah, 49,000. Great. 49. Yep, 49. And then the 0802s. They are binding up. See if I can just move it around a little bit. Free it up. There we go. 30. It's winding up to 40. Call it 40. 40. Yeah. 40 and what did I say? 46? Wow, this is all the way up at 52. Hold on. $49. Maybe that motor's binding up a little bit. Hold on. Move it around a little bit. Hey, wow, there we go. These motors are binding on the frame a little bit. 50... 55. Jesus. Okay. Hold on. Just wiggle the motor around in a little bit. See if we can get it up to 55 like the other one. I'm going to call it 54. I saw a bunch of 54s there. So 54 and 40. Pretty consistent 40. 54 and 40. Let's take a look. All right. 54 and 40. Okay. BetaFPV is doing 40,000. 54,000. So, okay. A little bit under the 32,000s. Drop HM in there. Let me take a quick look at this frame to see if it's binding on these two motors for some weird reason. It might be. Hold up. Let me back Back this screw off here a little bit. Swear to God, if these motors have been binding up on this goddamn frame. Arr, arr, arr. 54,000. I just loosened a couple of screws. Let me see real quick if this makes a difference. What I would like to see is 56,000 on these motors, because that's what the Tiny Whoop motors did. $2,000 kV seems like a little bit high of a difference between these two. $52. There it is. $55, $56. There we go. Yep. The motor was ever so slightly touching the frame. $52. There it is. $55, $56. Got it. Perfect. All right, great. Good. All right, so that was to be expected. Let's fix that. It's because I'm over tightening the motor screws, and then it pushes the plastic in a little bit. I really need to take all of these frames and drill them a little bit. These Cockroach V3 frames, yeah, they need to be, the motor holes need to be drilled out. Okay, so putting propellers on now. Render says, what frame? I had to use a larger drill than a regular Cockroach frame, not just the light one. Yep, me too. Well, sometimes. Some of the Cockroach frames, when you don't over-tighten the motor screws, are fine. The Cockroach V3 frame. The light AF frame, I've had to do it no matter what. But the V3 frame, as long as you don't over-tighten the motor screws, it's fine. Once you've over-tightened the motor screws a couple of times in a row, it squishes the plastic in, and the round center hole, you got the 3 screws here, and it pushes the plastic in like that, and then it starts to rub. And so, yeah, I just need to stop over-tightening these screws. Or, better case, drill it out. Because when you drill it out, it then has enough clearance that even when you crank the motors down, you're good to go. Props are on. I need to chop my lips off. I need to get the motors spinning the correct direction. Props in, motor direction, understand the risks, wizard, start and spin. Motor 1 is props in, great. Motor 2 is props in, great. Motor 3 is prop, no way. Motor 3 is wrong. I gotta reverse motor 3. Now we're good to go, though. I was gonna say, no way they're all 4 of them are right. Let me just check it. Motor 1 is good. 2 is good. 3 is good. 4 is good. Wonderful. All right, we're gonna check. I'm gonna try to chop my lips off. So I'm gonna check motor number 2. I'm gonna ramp it up to full beans. And I want you guys to look at the RPM before I blow on it, and then you'll hear me start blowing on it. Ready? Motor 2. Here we go. Chopping my lips off. So 64,000 is basically what we keep seeing. All right, and then I'm going to blow on it. Ready? Totally. You can totally hear it. Yeah, so the incoming air does help. Did you guys happen to see what it wound up to? I mean, you can easily hear the difference there, though. Okay, let's continue with the testing. So yeah, the incoming air does allow more RPM, but when we're on the battery, it's sagging like crazy, versus this power supply that's not sagging at all. Motor 1, 60. I saw 64 for up to 65. Not that much extra. Interesting. 56, what's happening? Is the board getting too hot? 64. There it is, 64. The motors are actually overheating. 59 I saw. 59. 64 and 59. That's what I need to know. 64 and 59. All right. And oops. 6459. Okay, so what did we just test? 64. Yep, totally expected that. There's yet another Happymodel 702 that's maxing out at 64,000 on the loaded thrust stand. And then we've got a BetaFPV 802, and that one did 59,000 kV, even though it's only 23,000 kV. But it's a big grunty motor, and it's able to push that propeller through the static air a lot harder. Yet more, more data to back up what we've been saying there. I wouldn't think that I can blow with my mouth more than, like, I don't know, 5 miles an hour, maybe 10 miles an hour. But yeah, I mean, we could absolutely hear the motors wind up. Jason Black says, is your house windy? Did I miss something? No, what we're testing is whether or not these motors turn higher or lower RPM once they have incoming air. And we've just confirmed that they will turn a higher RPM. This is why, even though when we look at a 36,000 kV motor, no, hold on. When we look at a 36,000 kV motor all the way down to a 32,000 kV motor without a propeller on them, the 36,000s are turning higher, as you would expect, but then once there's a 1210 propeller on there, they're turning the same RPM. It's because this is on a static test. In the air, you can absolutely feel the difference in power between these 32,000s and 36,000s. And also the 40,000s as well. See, even the 40,000, we're only getting an extra 500 RPM with the propeller on, but look at the difference without the propeller on. Obviously, the 40,000 is turning more RPM. It's wound higher, but once the and there's a definite difference in power between the 36s and the 40s in the air. So yeah, I mean, shit. A bunch of you guys have flown 32,000s and 40,000s, and you can all back me up that there is a massive difference between those two. But look at the RPM numbers: 64,000 versus 64,500. That is a tiny percentage change. That's like a 1% change. You wouldn't be able to tell 1% more power. There is way more than 1% extra power between a 32,000 kV 702 and a 40,000 kV 702. It feels like there's twice as much power. So yeah, there you go. Crom calculated 65,000 RPM on 1219 propellers. We'll be pushing air at around 8 meters per second, which is 18 miles an hour. That seems a little low. 18 miles an hour? That seems super low, doesn't it? I would think it would be way higher than that. But I mean, I'm basing that on, like, nothing. You know? that's just, like, based on gut reaction, which is never right. You know? Never trust your gut, ever. Juju says, I got the Mobula 6 ELRS, not the 2024, because it's got proven 2G4, but it weighs in at 18.7 grams. There are upgrades beside doing the antenna mod, let AF frame to make it lighter. Nope, that's about it. The 2G4 is a heavy AIO, but it is a super reliable AIO. And with a 32,000 kV or 36 or 40,000 kV motor, it moves that thing around just fine. So yeah, that you've got sort of in current Tiny Whoop terms, you've basically got like a 750 gram 5-inch rig. You're hauling around like a GoPro 12 and, you know, big old 2207 motors, and you're on like a 140 gram frame. That's sort of the equivalent of what you've got there. If you go Air 65 or Mobula 6 2024, you can have a 650 gram or a 600 gram rig, 5-inch experience. Basically, you can get down to 17 point something grams, even 16 point something grams. But there is nothing wrong with a 2G4. Just go bigger motor. It's arguably more fun. Okay, so tested these. What are these motors here? Some 1102s. These are going to have the bigger motor shaft, though, aren't they? No, that's a 1 mil shaft, isn't it? Oh, shit. We're about to go totally crazy and test an 1102. I think. Is that... Nope. Different motor shaft. All right, we're going to wait. We're going to wait on the 1102 testing. Because we're going to do some of this testing with the 1610 biblade propeller, because that propeller is available in 1.5 millimeter motor shaft, and it makes more sense for the bigger motors. But what's insane is how much drag this 1210 propeller is putting even on these bigger motors. It's really cool to see these bigger motors push these little tiny 1210 propellers so much harder. I didn't expect that. What other motors do we have to test? 29,000 kV NewBeeDrones. We already tested those. What do we got here? This is a 702 30,000. We haven't tested that yet, but we've tested motors that are very close to that. Kind of do want to test them. What else do we have, though, that's 1 mil shaft? Nah, you know, let's... Oh, I do have some 34,000s. Yeah. All right, so these are old school prototypes, man. Jesse sent me these forever ago. Probably like 2 years ago. Yeah, 702 34,000 kV. Awesome. All right, let's bolt a couple of these guys up. I flew the shit out of these. He sent these... a little bit after the 32,000 kV motors originally came out, to see if it was worth it to go higher than 32, because he was at the time, I think he still is, working with Ethan from Micromotor Test Labs, who has a static thrust stand, and Ethan was telling Jesse, "Hey, I've tested." Ethan was testing these higher kV motors, and they, exactly like we're seeing here, they weren't turning any extra RPM above 32,000 kV. And so it was like, it took a minute for them to kind of realize, well, there's no incoming air, and that's going to affect the test results. Static thrust stand results are awesome, but they're not the full picture, which I know we've been saying for a while, but this is absolutely proving that. Because it is unquestionable, if you've flown 40,000 kV 702s, that they make considerably more power. Oh man, I can't wait to see what these 34s turn. Render says, would going from a higher kV and motor limiting to a larger size battery lose efficiency a ton, or is it negligible? Technically, motor limiting is going to lose you a little bit of efficiency, but I've found it to be negligible. I tested the shit out of that at one point, too. And I've tested it on 5-inch rigs. I've tested it on tiny whoops. But what you don't want to do is go completely crazy. Like, you don't want to get 40,000 kV motors and then scale them down like 50%. That's too much. You've gone too far in that scenario. All right, 32,500 over there. Okay, so I've got 34,000 kV motors here that I'm putting on. What are these? Oh, 603 30,000s. Yeah. This will be very cool. 603 30,000s. Some more prototypes that Jesse has sent. Very, very, very kindly sent me. Maybe. Oh, I'm going to be... The results of this are going to be pretty cool, because we've got like 703, we've got 603, we've got 802. We can really see... I don't know what we're going to see. I'm gonna have to think about, like, once we get all these numbers, I'm gonna have to really stew on this and see what I think a lot of this kind of means, but that's kind of exciting. Is everybody completely bored to tears? Is this the worst live stream I've ever done? I thought we were going to see more variation in the non-Happymodel motors. This is also super cool to see what the rated KV is versus the actual KV. I'm not testing the KV in the best way possible here. The best way possible would be, one of the best ways to do it is to spin the motor and then read the voltage coming out of it. I don't have the setup to do that. Some other guys do. I think, is it Cloudhopper? I think built a little jig to do that, because he's the guys that are hand winding these tiny whoop motors. It benefits them to do that because they're in a land of make believe. Just like, well, let's try winding it 5 times, and there's 6 times, 6 5 6 5, like 7 6 6. So yeah, for those guys it rules. All right, let's see here. 603 versus 702, 30,000 kV versus 40,000 kV. And let's get this going here. All right, I can just let this guy hang. Okay. Motors. And we want 50%. Here we go. I don't even know which one this is. Oh, shit. I'm not spinning. Why ain't you spinning? All right. It's kind of let's bind that on the frame again. Damn it. Hold on. Whoa. Yes, he got upset by that. I need to drill this frame out. I need to... Well, let's do this. Let me do this. Let me fire these motors up. I'm going to record the numbers that I get. And then I'm going to drill this frame out. And then I'm going to run this again. That should tell me if the frame was kind of screwing me over. It's weird. Like if I grab the bell of the motor and wiggle it around a little bit, all of a sudden it spins up totally fine. I think now that I'm not cranking the motors down, they might just be like barely touching on the frame. All right, so let's see. 46,000. Yeah, see that motor number 1's dragging for sure. 56,000, that's to be expected, kind of. 56,000. All right, now hold on. I got to drill the frame out. It doesn't make any sense to keep going with this frame possibly rubbing. Damn it. Turds. All right. Hold up. Wow, we're coming up on 3 hours. Jesus. That's okay. We're hanging. We're doing, I don't know. Can I say that we're doing science, or are we're I mean, I guess kind of we're doing science, but we're doing like the most bro-y version of science ever. Which is why I'm like, are we doing science? But I mean, we're doing something. You know? This is the 702. Yeah. Chat is absolutely on fire right now. Black Horse says, maybe I'm thinking thrust, static thrust is the max you can get, that, and dynamic will eventually reach 0 the faster you go. Yeah, I mean, like, if you blow enough air, incoming air on these motors, they will they will hit that eventually. They'll hit that maximum RPM that they're able to hit with no prop on. Right? Is like an extreme way to think about it. Because the incoming air will match the outgoing air, and then the motor will just be able to spin totally freely. A screw just vanished on me. There it is. Damn, yeah, guys, when you get a Cockroach V3 or Light AF frame, drill it out ASAP. Drill it out as soon as you take it out of the box. In order to drill it out, you don't want to have the motor screws in it either. So yeah, just do them as soon as you get them out of the box. It's the name of my sex tape. Cloudhopper says, I sent you my test stand if you want to borrow. I could send you my test stand if you want to borrow it for a bit. Nah, we're good. I'm getting the data that I'm kind of hoping to get. I think this is relatively accurate here. Getting the exact KV won't necessarily like. Yeah, I'm testing all of these motors in the same way. And what I'm interested in, I'm not interested in the exact number. I'm interested in the relationship between the different motors, right? And since we're testing them in the same way each time, I think that it's relatively accurate. And like, you know, we're rounding off to like 1,000 RPM. You know, I'm not trying to really do like 56,500 RPM even. I mean, I've done it a couple times, but yeah, for the most part, like, we're keeping it pretty rough here. I appreciate the offer, though, brother. I knew it was you that set up that little stand. Come on. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, all four of these guys are off. I actually still have the drill and bit sitting right here next to my desk. So let me real quick just zip these. Opens, put it in there by hand first. Don't just crank away on it. You can very easily rip the motor base right off the little standoffs. So just hand jam it first. A little bit of hand jamming, never hurt anybody. And then spin it up. And pull material down. Pull the material down this way. Drill it like this, so that you're not pulling material up to where the base of the motor is going to be. Because they're going to be little hangy ball bastards. And I fired up to full speed like that to get it to wobble around a little bit, to just take out ever so slightly more material. This is a 9/64 drill bit, and it's pretty much perfect. All right, good to go. All right, let's bolt these motors back on. And of course, I don't remember what those numbers were that we ran a minute ago. But, I mean, that one motor was definitely dragging. You know what I mean? So, I don't think we need to doubt whether or not that needed to be done just now. The hard part's going to be getting these screws in here. Notice says it's like a Springsteen concert. What? What does that mean? What's like a Springsteen concert? Cloudhopper says you don't need a multimeter that can read AC voltage. Yeah, I've got that. I don't necessarily care about the exact KV. Again, I appreciate the offer though. Crom says, could you test one 1002 so we can see how much way too much torque means the difference between unloaded and loaded? I can't, because all of the 1002s are 1.5 mil motor shaft, and so I can't put this same propeller on there. So I would have to put a 1610 propeller on there, and that's a whole different thing. So we're going to have to do the 1.5 mil shaft testing kind of separately, basically. Or I can try to drill out. I have tons of these Gemfan 1210s. I might as well try to drill a couple of them out to 1.5 millimeter. They don't need to be balanced. They just need to go onto the motor. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll drill a couple. I'm not going to do it now, but at some point here, I will drill out a couple of 1210s. So that, yeah, that's a great idea, because then we can, as we continue to go bigger on the stator size, there has to be a point where a point of sort of like diminishing returns in terms of a prop on static test here. Hopefully that makes sense. Is there a little piece of plastic in there? Get the hell out of there. Get the hell out of there, little piece of plastic. Come on now. There it is. Doing this in a hurry. Usually I'm a little bit more careful with this. Arr, arr, yar, yar. That's fine. It's not in there. It's not touching it. What about this one? Nah, yeah, we're good. Yeah, there's visibly clearance now between the frame and the C-clip on the bottom of the motor. The problem is that the C-clips that NewBeeDrone uses on their motors, the outer diameter of those C-clips is ever so slightly smaller than the C-clips that Happymodel uses. So putting NewBeeDrone motors onto your NewBeeDrone frame, all is well. You don't have to drill it out or anything like that. But yeah, Happymodel is using a slightly different C-clip. Classic case of aftermarket things from one company not jiving with aftermarket things from another company. Something that happens in the world of cars all the goddamn time. Because each different aftermarket company designs their stuff to like fit tighter on the stock chassis or the stock engine. And then when two companies, and then so when you buy one thing from one company that closed up a gap, and you buy another piece that sits right against it from another company that closes up the gap, now those two butt heads, and like they can not fit sometimes, and it's super annoying. It happens with suspension components quite a bit. You get like an upright from one company and then like a ball end from another company, and they won't work with one another. You can either use the stock upright with the ball end from Steeda, or the ball end from Steeda with, or the aftermarket upright from Maximum Motorsports with the stock ball joint. So a lot of times it pays to stay with the same manufacturer, get all of your stuff from Maximum Motorsports, because their stuff is all designed to work together. Okay, the frame is now drilled out. There's a visible gap between the C-clips and the plastic. So now we don't have to worry about that anymore. And we are testing 0603 30,000s versus 0702 34,000s. No props first. I know I'm missing chat comments, guys. I apologize, but I'm trying to get through as much of this as I possibly can live so that we can talk about it. Okay, motor one. I didn't plug any of the motors back in. I bolted the motors down. I didn't plug any of them in. So to talk a little bit more about like the inconsistencies that we've got going on between all of these, one of the inconsistencies is going to be that some of these motors I have plugged and unplugged a bunch of times. But we're actually not seeing that much inconsistency between these. I've actually been pretty pretty blown away by how consistent this testing has been. But yeah, for the record, how many times the plugs have been plugged in and out. Technically, this AIO is heating up and cooling down. That could maybe affect the FETs a little bit here and there. I think those are the two biggest sources of yeah, lack of consistency. All right, here we go. Motors 1 and 3 are the 702 34,000s. I'm sorry, not 1 and 3, 1 and 2 rather. Come on, Betaflight, you can do it. Yay! No, wrong tab. There we go. Here it is, and let's test. 52,000. Jesus, 56,000. There's a huge difference between these two 34,000 kV motors. Let's try the 60330s. 56,000. 56,000. Okay, so hold on. 56 for the 0603. HM 0603 30K. I don't remember what I just said. Was it 36? No, it wasn't. What the hell was it? Damn it. 56,000. That's it. 56,000. Okay. 56, comma 000. That lines up with these 32,000 kV motors. 30, 32. Close enough. Let's check out these 34,000 kV motors though again. 55, 56. 56. There we go. There we go. But now it's winding up to 59. This one's really sticking at 56. Motor 1 seems a little weak. Here, let me move the bell around a little bit. Okay, let's try it again. 57. I saw 58. We're going to say 58. We're going to say 58,000 kV. Yay, that tracks. 58. Oh. Perfect. That's exactly where it should be. Awesome. All right, now we're going to put props on. And I'm just going to do that real quick here. Props in. Doesn't really matter, but might as well. Okay, ouch. Props in. And yeah, I know. It's beeping. ESC's been on for 2 minutes. It's like, arm me, bitch. All right, there we go. Props are on. Let's see what happens here. Wait, no, I gotta get them spinning in the right direction first. Stop motors, motor direction, understand the risks, wizard, start spin. Great. Motor 1 is correct. Motor 3 is correct. Motor 2 is wrong. Click it to reverse it. Motor 4 is correct. Should all now be making thrust. Let's check them. In. Great. Motor 1. 64,000. Go figure. Motor 2. 64,000. Go figure. Now, here we go. This is interesting. 65,000. 65,000. 64 and 65,000. All right, let's see. 64 and 65,000. Hang on. 64. And then 65. So, 34,000 kV 702 versus turning 64,000 kV with the prop on. 30,000 kV, 4,000 less kV, but 603 is a bigger stator volume, getting up to 65,000 kV. What else is turning 65,000 kV? So look at this, VCI Oh, look at this, man. Look at the difference in stator volume here. A VCI 0703, which is a significantly bigger stator than an 0603, only 23,500 kV was cranking up to 64,000. A 30,000 kV 603 could barely get to 65,000. That's pretty cool stuff. 603 is not that big of a stator. It's not that much bigger than 702. Here, I'll show you. We've got 0702 is the smallest, and then we've got 0603, which is slightly bigger, and then we've got 0703, which is even bigger yet. Right, and so look, 702, 77, 603, 85, 703, 115. Look at the size of that jump. And then the surface area, the 603 actually has less surface area than the 702. But the 603's got that extra volume. So yeah, 703 is a massive step up compared to 603 and obviously 702. Ooh, baby. 6 o'clock. It has been 3 hours. Juju says, I have a Tiny Hawk Freestyle 3 analog that falls out of the sky or flies to the moon without me disarming. Full throttling. Says, BatRx, failsafe. Is there a way to fix other than a new receiver? Juju, there's all kinds of different... I can't just like give you one quick answer. Andrew Taylor says, is having a bunch of hair caught up in motors going to affect efficiency a lot? My flight times have dropped. It could, but the way that these brushless motors are set up, the hair typically winds around the bottom of the stator and doesn't touch the bell. So unless there's a lot of hair on them, yeah, I try to keep the hair out of them. But the brushed motors were way worse. The brushless motors don't care nearly as much about hair, but it still does matter, especially if you get a bunch of it clogged up there. So it could be a part of your problem. All right. 3 hours is too much for a live stream. So I'm going to chop the live... Render says, what size drill bit do you use? 9/64. I'm going to chop the stream here. I'm going to do some more testing to keep beefing up this Excel spreadsheet. You know what I'll do? We'll do a... do I know how to do that anymore? No, I want to listen to some music. I was going to say we'll do a Patreon-only stream, but I want to listen to music and watch YouTube. So, yeah, we've talked through a lot of this stuff. I really need to just sit down and stare at this a whole bunch. Massive thanks to Kevin Sumner for doing some Excel spreadsheeting things. And, yeah, CiottiFPV.com, a million different ways you can support me. This was pretty cool. I thought I was going to see some different stuff, but I think we got some cool data worked out here. I've got another 4 or 5 different motors to test. And then tomorrow night is giveaway night, but I'll take 10 or 15 minutes to talk about what I've mulled over tonight. I'm actually skipping dance class because I don't want to re-hurt my back. So, yeah, I've got all night just to sit here and nerd out. So, yeah, thanks for hanging, friends. I hope you learned something. I certainly did, and I hope I can continue to figure some shit out from these results. Love you, bye! I'm not ready. I know we didn't fly... Let me fly another battery. Fly one more battery. We flew a 36,000 kV battery. Let's fly a 32,000 kV battery. On the 36,000s, we turned different propellers though, so it's not going to be a one-to-one test. But 36,000 kV motor with a battery, we turned 56,000 kV. Let's see if this with a different battery, which is a problem. Let's see what this will turn kV wise. The internal resistances of the batteries are different, and so yeah, this doesn't really tell us much, but it's an interesting thing to look at, isn't it? And I'll fly around a 32,000 kV rig. with tri-blade HQ YOLO props on it. What could go wrong? All right. Here we go. Oh, God. Change the... Oh, nope. I just have to hit OK on the transmitter. I might have to change the module. No, we're good. Here we go. Let me actually see what that turned. That quick throttle blast turned 55,900. Let's see what this will do here. Whew, God, it is hard to do this. It's hard to do it without crashing. All right, let's see what that was. 58,516. So yeah, the problem is, look at the minimum battery. It sagged this battery all the way down to 3.5 volts. Oh, I'm gonna go back and I forgot that I had the minimum battery in the. Oh, I might not have had it in the other OSD. But yeah, hold on, we can do the math. Can somebody in chat do the math? If the minimum battery is 3.5 volts and it turned 58,516 RPM, what would the RPM be at 3.8 volts? Can somebody do that math for me while I fly the rest of this battery? Woo! Boy, that was weird looking, wasn't it? Oh, God, no! Oh, I got very lucky on that one. These HQ tri-blades fly great, man. It is no surprise that the racers dig these. Ah, get in there. Oh, rejected! Oh, boy! Plinko! No, easy. Tempting fate above the kitchen sink. Oh, God! It's a close one. Ooh, this battery's done. This battery has a little bit of juice left in it, but it's fine. Can anybody do that math? 63,534. Look at that. So that's right up to, that's back to 64,000. Damn. Why are we not? Maybe I'm just not. Maybe the living room is just not big enough to really let it. Or maybe like the voltage. Yeah, I don't know. Very weird. I would think that it would turn much higher RPM than that once it's up in the air. But yeah, maybe we're just not giving it enough space. Maybe it needs more space than what we've got in the living room. But man, it is hauling ass by the time it gets to the other side of the room, isn't it? Like, one would think that would be enough space. Huh. Those are both 2G4 rigs, so 18 point something grams, you know the deal. All right, friends, thanks for hanging. The learning continues. Be good. I'll check you out tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern time for giveaways and a recap of what we may or may not have learned in this. Here's some 0802 25,000 kV GemFan 1610 Jungle Gym Basher flight footage for you. Love you. Bye. See you guys tomorrow night.